Good afternoon, and thank you for joining our webinar this afternoon. Today we're going to talk about utilizing customer and competitor data to increase your digital marketing ROI. I'm Jamil Zabane, President at J&L Marketing. I've been a speaker at Digital Dealer, NCM, NADA 20 groups, and OEM large dealer groups and meetings. Yet, I'm not here to talk about myself, but instead, I would like for you to walk away after these 30 minutes with a few ideas to improve your digital marketing. Almost 3 years ago, I sat on the other side of the phone, similar to you. J&L was actively looking at potentially purchasing or partnering with a best-in-class digital marketing company. After devoting myself to learn digital marketing and listening to over 20 presentations from potential partners, we had to make a big decision at J&L. Instead, we decided to invest a lot of time and money into developing a world-class digital marketing product ourselves. 2 years later, we rolled out at NADA, and our results have been out of this world. So a lot of you guys might be saying, why am I telling you this? Well, after analyzing numerous industries outside of the automotive, I have found 3 key components that all vendors that I listen to lack. And today we're going to discuss one of them. The 3 were, number 1, a firm understanding of the dealership's market using deep data. That includes offline data and online, which we'll discuss today. Number 2, a unique marketing strategy that will lower the cost per click and cost per conversion. And then number 3 is personalized campaign management that continuously optimizes for their dealership. As discussed, today I'll be diving into deep data, but specifically focusing on offline data. J&L as an organization in a short time has already received Google Partner status and is well on our way to become Premier status. What we're going to discuss about today, specifically inside of deep data, is number 1 as a dealership, how you can use offline data to perform market analyzation. Number 2, targeting your DMS through paid search and Gmail advertising. And then number 3, what we're going to cover is how to use online data to outmarket your competition. So when I first sat down 2 years ago, the one thing that I felt like was missing with most agencies out there was a full defend and attack strategy. And number 1 as a dealership, if I'm the owner of a dealership or I'm a general manager, I want to defend against my competition. Specifically, my customers, making sure they stay loyal to my dealership. And then just as important, I want to have an attack strategy to attack my nearest competitors. I'm going to open it up to a question, but prior to going into some information, so I have a poll here that's going to be populating, and I'm going to launch it. And if you could, please tell me how confident you feel with your current agency that they did the necessary competitive market analysis prior to spending $1 on ad spend. Please select yes or no. %86 of you guys answered no. 14% answered yes. And that is what I continue to hear from dealerships. And as I was looking at agencies, as I said, what analysis are you guys doing for your dealerships to truly understand their market? The best answers that I got from dealerships is, well, they look at my DMS, or they plot by zip code, or I give them the competitors and they geofence my competition. But I felt like that's not enough. And I compared digital marketing a lot to being a good financial advisor. A good financial advisor is going to sit down with you and understand your specific goals and your risk tolerance. They're also going to give you recommendations and, more importantly, understand your financial situation better than even you. So what I'm going to talk about right now is something that you should encourage your current agency or on your own you need to do as a dealership. And that is before spending $1 is we have to do the most extensive research before your marketing even begins. So to do this research, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process here at J&L that we follow, that we give to our dealerships, that's going to give them the information so that way we can better understand the market, so we can defend against the competition, but as well attack. In this, we'll be looking at offline data, DMS data, as well as online data. So let's talk a little bit about offline data. The first thing that we want to do as an agency, or your agency should be doing for you, is they want to understand your market. We want to identify pockets with the highest propensity to buy, identify in-market customers, and identify vehicle buyers who are most interested into it. So the right-hand side is a report that we give our dealerships, and I'll go into much more detail, which showcases them the top 5 zip codes that are most likely to purchase in their area, the top 5 zips and what they account for, how they fare against the competition, but then also we use a purchase predictor data to be able to predict to us in that market in the future where the next auto shoppers are going to be. So this is extremely important when you're putting together your digital marketing strategy, is not only do you want to use data from the past, but we also want to use data to predict the future. Furthermore, what we also want to do is we want to look at where's our biggest opportunities. And to do that, I'm going to go in a little bit more detail. But prior to doing that, I'm going to ask one other question to kind of see how you guys feel about it. And the question is, do you feel confident that you know where specifically in your marketing you are losing car sales to your competition? And I'm going to load that question up right now for you. And if you could, answer yes, no, or not sure. Right now, we have 50% that have said no, 50% said not sure. We're at 56% not sure, 40% no, and 10% yes. Give it a few more minutes. All right, we finished at 10% of you said yes. You do feel confident that you know where specifically in your market you are losing car sales to your competition. 40% said no, and 50% said not sure. So 90% of the people on this webinar are not sure or not confident that they know where specifically where they're losing car sales. And I'm going to show you how to be able to identify that. So furthermore, what we want to do is we want to have a comparison analysis. So some of this data you can get from Polk, or you can get directly from your manufacturer, and then I'm going to show you some data that you've probably never seen from your OEM. So this is no different than a Territory Pro that you've probably seen, where you can compare yourself with your biggest competition. As an agency, I shouldn't be asking you who your competitors are. I should be telling you where the competition is in your market. So as you can see right here to the right-hand side, it's going to show the top 5 dealers in the market that we're evaluating, the dealer's volume and share. This is for a Honda dealership. The top 15 zips. And then what I'd like to show you is something much more advanced. And I have not shown this to anybody yet. But what I'd like to show you is a report that we give to all of our customers that sign on for our digital marketing now. And what this report does, and there's 3 different ways that you can use this report. We can either look at it from all makes, we can look at it specific to your make, or we can narrow it down to your make and a few competitive makes. Now, as you can see, I have all the options up right now. This is the Honda variation right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you is the one that's going to compare Honda, Toyota, and Nissan. So for this dealership's called West County Honda. They're in St. Louis, Missouri. And as you can see, we're analyzing for this dealership a 20-mile radius. Now, with a dealership, they can give us any type of criteria that they want. They can give us specific zip codes. They can give us a PMA, but for this dealership, we want out just your general 20-mile radius to analyze it. Here are all the zips that we're analyzing and the proximity to the dealership. So the first thing that I want to look at is overall, how is Honda doing in that 20-mile radius? And as you can see, Honda has 39.3% market share. Toyota is the next closest at 33.2, and Nissan is 27.6. And keep in mind, I can do it for all makes or just Honda if we wanted to. The next thing I want to look at if I want to accurately set up a digital marketing strategy that allows you to win is I want to see where you're selling cars as a dealership, but just as important, where your competition is selling cars. So a lot of times dealerships feel like, well, I do a really good job in my 5-mile radius, my 10-mile radius. But what they don't know is because they don't have access to their competitors' DMS is that they could be losing in specific areas. And one thing that we're going to talk about later on is how we can tailor your bidding strategy. So what you see right here is a spreadsheet. And what this spreadsheet is going to show you is it's going to show you by zip code and by dealership. So we got West County Honda dealership, which is the one that's working with us. And we have all of their biggest competitors right here. St. Louis Honda, Bomarito Nissan, J. Wolf Toyota, and so on. What I'm analyzing is I'm analyzing the current 3 months and the previous 3 months. So that gives me 6 months worth of data essentially. So for zip code 63021, the current 3 months we sold 49 vehicles, and the previous we sold 65. And then you can see how the competition fared. Well, how do we use this report and why is it important? Well, looking at this report, I see right here that within this zip code of 63129, we sold 5 vehicles and 9 vehicles the previous month. Well, that might sound great, but what we don't know is that that zip code is only 7 miles from our dealership. So as we sit down with you and we consult, we're recommending areas that is very close in proximity that you should be winning, that you're currently not winning. And obviously, we can make bid adjustments based off of those areas to hopefully attack the competition in those specific areas. So this data is extremely important when you set up your digital marketing campaign before you even spend that dollar. What I also want to look at is I want to look at overall in the market of the 20-mile radius, who my biggest competitors are. And the reason why I want to do this, and hopefully the agency that you're using right now is doing this for you, is I want to identify what my competition is doing. So if St. Louis Honda and Bomarito Nissan are my biggest competitors that are taking the most market share from me, your agency should be able to supply with you online marketing data that shows exactly the ads Bomarito and St. Louis Honda is running, but also what type of landing page and what keywords they're bidding on. Again, if I'm going to set up a strategy of attacking against the competition, it's very important that I understand what makes, what models, and where specifically they're spending this money so that I can win the click and win the conversion. I can also show to you as a dealership where we're specifically losing market share by make and by model. So right here, for example, I know right here in my 20-mile radius that St. Louis Honda is doing much better than me currently in CRVs. So a lot of struggles that dealerships have is they don't know where to spend their money in terms of which models. A lot of times it's based off of gut, dealer cash, or inventory. So what we can supply to you, or what an agency can supply to you, is this data so that way whether you're doing display campaigns, Facebook marketing, or paid search, how we want to bucket our funds. You shouldn't be just saying, I want to spend $5,000 in paid search. Your agency should be dividing it out and structuring your bidding based off of, I want to spend it on these particular models in these specific areas. I want to get aggressive in these zips to hopefully win the click. What this all is going to do to you is, prior to even us looking into your DMS, it's going to help you develop that strategy that you need. By understanding the market, where are the future buyers, and who are the biggest competitors, and where is that greatest opportunity. Essentially, we should be aligning our business with your business to help you win, similar to that financial advisor. Last but not least, we can even do it by month. So we can figure out exactly, did we lose particularly in one month over another month? So what this report right here is going to show you is by month and by make and model where specifically we need to spend money. This is really important for display campaigns as you're doing display advertising, where we should, what type of banner ads we should be promoting and what specific areas. Hopefully that helps you out. Let me go back to sharing my screen. So furthermore, what I also want to do and what we want to talk about now that we've developed our strategy, we understand where we're going to spend money, how much we're going to spend money, how we're going to compete against the competition, is now we want to target the audiences with the highest ROI. And to do this, I obviously, and we talked about this just a little bit ago, is I want to better understand what the competition is doing. There's tons of competitive analysis out there that your agency should be providing you, but more or less they should be giving you information on what your market share looks like. So essentially, what is your competition spending and where are they spending it? Where's the keywords? Are they attacking your branded keywords? What models and what makes are they specifically targeting? And this data will help you out set that strategy up. Furthermore, this is going to come very, very important later on the road when we're talking about ad copy. At the end of the day, what's the difference between if I'm a Honda dealership, most of my competitors are all going to be bidding on keywords that involve Honda Accord. So what the difference between getting that click and not and paying a lower cost per click is going to be your ad relevancy. And we'll get into more about that, but that's going to help you out with your quality score. The more relevant we can be to our audience and the more we know what the competition's doing, the better off we're going to do and create that higher ROI. I want to evaluate your DMS and specifically tailor these campaigns. But prior to getting that, I want to find out from you guys if you're currently utilizing your DMS. Is your current agency looking into your DMS, pulling that data, and applying it to paid search to tailor and do tailored bids to defend and attack the competition? I'm going to throw this up as a poll question and see how everybody answers that. Right now, we have 67% that are saying no, 17% saying not sure, and about 20% that are saying yes. I'll give it a few more seconds. All right. So the way the poll ended is 25% of you said yes. You are currently using your DMS, which I think everybody on this phone line would agree is your most valuable asset that you have as a dealership, for paid search to defend and attack against the competition. 63% of you said, no, I'm not using my DMS. And 13% are not sure. So one thing that I saw 2 years ago is how in the auto industry, because the management fees and the cost, people are trying to drive it down, is a lot of what we're talking about today just takes more effort and more time. In September of 2015, Google released custom audiences or custom list audiences. And most of the people that work in the auto space are still not using it. And what that means is I can actually take your DMS, your most valuable asset, upload it to Google AdWords, and tailor our bid strategy to this audience. We call it our attack versus defend campaign. So I have a screenshot up right here to the right-hand side. This is inside of Google AdWords where you can see there's an option where you can upload a customer list, and Google, obviously, they match the email address, upload the file, and they'll actually match to it. Now, some of the criteria, the audiences must be at least 1,000 identified email address. The emails must be obtained by first party, so sorry guys, We can't do email append to do this audience. But this allows us to actually include or exclude this audience. So let me give you 2 examples. So for instance, if we are doing a service campaign and we want to go after people that we're low on oil changes or tires, I might upload my list on page search for service customers, active service customers, and I might want to include them and be able to go more broad if I'm a BMW dealership on tire replacement, oil change, where I would never be able to be that broad on that keyword because I would be pulling people that don't own a BMW. So what audience targeting allows me to do, or customer match allows me to do on paid search, is I almost have 2 separate campaigns going on at the same time. I have one campaign, which is my audience that I uploaded, and I'm specifically targeting specific keywords, and I can have bids specific to that, even by location. And then for my other audience, to give you an example, I'll use the BMW oil change. I have to be more exact. Since I don't know if they own a BMW, then the customer is going to have to put in something like BMW oil change for me to spend that money to bid on that customer. So this is something that absolutely you as a dealership should be doing. If you're not doing it, definitely encourage your current agency to do this because there's great opportunity. We see right now a lower cost per click and more conversions off of our custom list versus our non-custom list. One thing I'm going to add on this, just for an FYI, there's also something called RLSA, that's remarketing search list. So you can even create a third audience, which is people that visited your site, upload them into AdWords, and have different bid settings when they go into search. That way we can display an ad to that customer. And RLSAs are working outstanding as well. So customer match on paid search, this actually comes from Merkle. So on average, customer match sees double the click-through rate and 1/3 the cost. And again, the only reason why I can't fathom why anybody else is doing it is it takes time. It takes time to set up these separate campaigns. You have to pull the data. You have to upload this data. And you can do it currently in paid search. Obviously, most of you all know you can do it in Facebook, you can do it in Twitter, and you can do it in YouTube. So what does the match rate look specific on Google? So .edu, it's pretty low, about 17%. Yahoo's about 46%. AOL's 48%, and obviously Gmail is the highest at 90%. Which overall at J&L we're seeing anywhere between 40 to 60% match rates, which will only get better over time. So definitely would encourage this be something that you look at and you push your agency to do. As I brought up earlier, we can do it for Gmail. So Gmail advertising within J&L is working outstanding. It's a very inexpensive way to get in front of a customer. But one way you can use it is a way a lot of dealerships are not using it is currently right now your CRM list is probably getting pretty full with unsubscribers for email. Well, what Gmail allows you to do is it allows you to put an ad in Gmail right above the emails, and you've probably seen them, right above your emails, that now you can target customers and it almost looks like an email to email list unsubscribers. So you can even narrow your audience on this to be able to get your message. When they open it up, you can see to the right-hand side, it looks like a standard email. And we've been seeing great results with Gmail ads right now. So what can this do for you as a dealership? Well, this allows you to outmarket your competition. If I know someone's a previous customer of mine, I can get more aggressive or less aggressive on how I bid for that customer. It also allows me to change my ads, knowing that that person is a previous customer of mine. Below is an example, and I brought it up earlier. To the left-hand side is a BMW customer. He did a simple search for oil change, and you can see for this customer, typically BMW, this dealership would have never bid on this customer. And to the right-hand side is more of your generic, which is, where we're losing customers to the Valvolines of the world. This can also be done, obviously, on the front end of the house. If I have a previous customers, I might want to get more aggressive as that customer's researching Honda dealership near me, Honda Accord, Honda Civic. Obviously, your goals as a dealership is going to dictate this strategy. We've had some dealerships that are extremely competitive and are more about winning customers, so we've actually excluded previous customers from a campaign. But no, you have that flexibility. So what is this overall going to help do for you as a dealership? Well, while using your DMS data, your phone traffic data, your website behavior, you can adjust bids. So what we try to do at J&L is not only do we have our custom list and our non-custom list, our RLSA list, we actually go down to individual locations on what we want to bid and what areas do we want to win. What we try to do is we try to focus on the customers with the highest intent. And what this is called audience shaping. This is a process to both target or exclude potential viewers. We do this through segmenting the audience. So it's very important to understand how is your current digital marketing agency setting up the campaign and the audiences that they're targeting. In the end of the day, what is this all going to do for you? What's the whole purpose of this webinar? The goal is to give you better results. By doing this extra work, utilizing your DMS data, doing the research up front on offline data, we at J&L have seen significantly better results than the competition. So right now, year to date, J&L has seen an average 10.13% click-through versus the automotive industry of 2.14. Again, this comes from being able to target a more granular approach of an audience, but also to serve ads that are more contextually relevant because we're separating these audiences out. So as promised, we're right at 30 minutes. If you have any questions, please type them into the question box. Hopefully, I was able to walk you through what J&L and what we would recommend for you in terms of looking at offline data, how you can use your DMS data for paid search, Gmail, YouTube, Twitter, to be able to specifically target this. We went over some audience shaping and tailored bidding strategies, and then we ended it with a little bit of online data analysis as well. What type of questions? If you have any questions, please type them in the question box, and I will try to get to all of them right away. All right, one of the questions is I briefly brought up RLSAs, and the question is have you seen RLSAs outperform a custom list? RLSAs we have seen slightly outperform customer lists, and remember RLSAs are remarketing search lists. So these are people that visited your website. You can actually set up a separate campaign so we can specifically have a different bidding strategy for them. We are seeing that to be slightly better than the customer match because they have shown higher intent to go on your website, but both are outperforming non-customer list match or just generalized. I have another question. What is the timeline for generating the analysis to implementing this into marketing? Typically, what we tell our customers is we need about a 30-day leeway. To really set this up and set it up the right way, we need about 30 days. So the first 20 days is gathering the offline information and gathering your DMS data. And what we try to do with the J&L is about 5 to 10 days before we do what's called a kickoff call, where we go over this whole analysis and give all of our recommendations. As a dealership, you obviously have that ability or that you can make that decision, yay or nay, if that's what you want to move forward with. We do have what's called a welcome call right when you signed up. We're similar to a financial advisor. We try to understand your goals so that way our strategy aligns with those goals. I had one person ask if the audio went out. Hopefully it did not. There's a question, There's a question box. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and put them in. Someone asked me, is it cost extra to do same brand or all competitors on that report? It doesn't matter. We'll do it either way. What we've found is in really metropolitan areas, like a Chicago, a dealership's more focused on just Honda dealerships, not necessarily other makes. And then what we've seen in the more rural areas, they're looking at maybe the top 3 makes that are close to them or all types of makes. Great question. I have another question. Does this cost any more? No. Everything that we went over today is something that we include a part of our standard management fee. We feel that when you're spending money and we're supposed to be managing it, we should be investing that money in the best possible places to get you the highest ROI. So there is no additional cost to this in terms of setting up these campaigns. All righty. I think I got through all the questions. I appreciate your time today. My email address is on this slide as well as my phone number. Please give me a call or reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks. Have a great day.